As predicted, hamstring curls is the opener. Now this hamstring curl I like. Something about it, it's just better than the one at the other gym I go to around here. So I warmed up, and since it just kind of, I want to say grooves with me. I mean, like the whole setup, it's just, I feel very comfortable with a lot of weight. That makes me think, okay, I want to throw a lot of weight around. So I warmed up to the whole stack. Been out of time to chit chat. Let's just get these started. Moderate weight, very focused on squeezing. Okay. One more. So sometimes if I talk to somebody and they're a little bit, well, maybe I'm a little bit too distracting to them, sometimes I have to say, okay, do a set. Come on, man. Like, I don't know. I guess it's whatever. But for the most part, try not to let anybody distract you. You know, you've got your normal rest time, and whatever you do in that rest period is, it's up to you, man. You could bust out a puzzle. You can just play on your phone. But, you know, once you're rested, that's your cue to turn that shit off. Play, I've been listening to this all day. Play till further notice on max volume, and then, you know, throw around 3 plates for as many reps as possible to failure. I saw a comment that kind of upset me. It was a little bit upsetting. And that's pretty rare. The basic, oh my gosh. The basic premise of the comment was, should I try to push all my sets that hard? What? Are you fucking kidding me? Obviously. Look, I'm not gonna say that every set has to be like a near-death experience. Like some of my, like a crazy set of squats, nose bleeding. They don't know how to be like that. But, I mean, look, you gotta think about it. If your body is capable of doing 15 curls on one side with a dumbbell, and absolutely no more than that, why would you stop at 10? It just doesn't compute. I think the most important thing at the end of the day is that your sets are difficult, and that you know for a fact, without delusion, that you really pushed yourself. So, you know, I could go into the gym and I could only do like 30-pound single arm pushdowns and just really seriously squeeze it, right? And do 6 sets of that. I'd be satisfied with it. Same thing with curls. You know, I could just do 30-pound concentration curls, bent over, just sit here, squeeze, right? And then be done. You know, I wouldn't want all my lifts to be like that, because I think having a variation of really heavy sets and lighter squeezing sets is going to be good for you. Just stimulates you in all sorts of good ways and whatever. But, you know, it doesn't necessarily matter the exact balance. As long as it's relatively even, right? Just, you know, do whatever feels good. There's a way to work around a tweak. There's a way to work around a little something or other without making the situation worse. You know, you know somebody who every time they're benching, they get a crunchy rotator cuff and they just never do anything about it. I've seen it firsthand, maybe not hundreds of times. I haven't been around that long, but enough where I'm like, oh, is your shoulder, like, you talk to somebody enough, you're like, you know their shoulder's fucked up. I'm like, hey man, shoulder still hurting? He's like, yeah, it sucks when I'm benching. And he's loading up 2 plates on the bench as I'm asking him this kind of stuff. Give quads a little more time to rest and then really throw them around. Next leg day, and we're good. So Not a full-on leg pump, just hamstrings. But I mean, it doesn't look like quads are too bad. Honestly, that's way too much separation. Whew. Oh yeah, there we go. That's what I'm aiming for. My hamstring just kind of be like hanging off the back of my leg. Absolutely love it. But we're done. Christmas Eve lift, short, but sweet. It's been a while since I've started off with heavy single-sided pushdowns. For the last, I mean, what, 4 arm days? The starter has been those really light kind of cross body extensions like those, which I like. Really good movement. I get a crazy squeeze. But tension-wise, like weight-wise, lacking a little bit. So I'm going to go a little bit heavier. This is just a bit over half the stack. So when I'm strong, when I'm fresh, in the first couple of reps, I'm going to do full range of motion, of course. Complete extension, really hold it, like not just straighten my arm, but flex extra hard. And then as the set progresses and I can't really move anymore, I'll do a few more partials before racking it and then matching the reps on the stronger side. Ugh. 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 Okay, let's do some pec deck next. They're not flies. It's almost its own sort of weird movement. Basic premise, you grab some dumbbells, you got them in front of your quads like this. You're looking at the mirror, and you try to pull the dumbbell upwards over here like you're trying to uppercut somebody, but only flex your pecs. And I can feel this in my upper chest. Honestly, it's like, in terms of the intensity of the squeeze, I can't think of a movement that beats it. But it doesn't really have a big stretched position, so it's not the best movement. But something to throw in, at least if you can feel it. Let's strap the 3 plates. Oh my goodness. Last chest workout I did, I went real heavy. You can tell the day after, my left rotator cuff was just a little tender. So I wouldn't mind potentially doing a more squeezing biased day just to potentially give it some rest. Oh my goodness. More than satisfied. Oh, even just, so this is what I was talking about in the car, about how when my biceps are pumped, it's hard for me to fully straighten out my arms because I can literally feel I'm pulling on my bicep by straightening it out all the way. Let's turn the exposure while they're talking. There we go. Speaking of 5:30, that's when I should be coming in here for my cardio. I've been doing like noon cardio. Not very intense at all, at least in terms of schedule. Okay, so I've kind of changed my approach to machine dips. So instead of just sort of treating this movement as like something to really overload and just have a lot of tension on my tris, I've been emphasizing fully straightening my arms out at the bottom and then getting an extra level of squeeze before actually coming back up and doing another rep. So sort of like portion A of the set will look like that. Complete extension, totally straightened, pause for a moment. Then there might be portion B where I straighten out, but I can't get that full extension. And then portion C, a couple partials, and I'll be ready to rack it by then. By then, a considerable amount of damage should have been done. Part of the reason why I don't do the superset style anymore is the pump would kind of almost hinder me as the lift would progress. Like, for me to do triceps without a bicep pump, it's totally cool. My biceps are unpumped, so I can still stretch them out straight, and I don't have any kind of hindrance like that. So I can do all my push downs well, dips well, whatever else pretty good. And then as my biceps get more and more pumped once I move on, my triceps will kind of start to chill out. They'll sort of deflate, at least just a bit. So when I'm doing my curls, my triceps aren't pulling my arm back, keeping me from, getting a good squeeze on top. But when I would do both at once, like back and forth style, by the time I was like half-ish way through the lift, I could tell my curls and my pushdowns were kind of starting to suffer just because my whole arm was getting pumped up at once.